Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of XA Talk Show. So, today I think we might try to do a non technical talk show. Non technical, uh, you know, because we had technical talk show, talking about JavaScript, about Emacs for a while, and you know, it's fun to do a non technical. Hi, Isaac. How are you? You see, non-technical topics, it can get very wild. And also, when you talk about non-technical topics, your audience uh, becomes like literally 1,000 times more because literally there are 1,000 more than 1,000 times more non-programmers than programmers. So when you talk about programming stuff, very few people. Hi, Isaac. So how are you? What you up to? So for non-technical, actually I don't know what to talk about today. I haven't, I don't have a plan. So I wrote out today, April 6th. Today is 6th. We can talk about YouTube. So here's some topics. YouTube. Some page on my Wordy blog. Learning language. Great, just been doing homework all day. Okay, what homework have you been doing? So are you in university, college students, or and what's your major? I always ask people that. Um, what's your major? So we can talk about learning languages. Okay, listen, speak, read, write, like learning natural languages like Chinese or English or German or French. Computer science and engineering. Great, that's computer science and engineering. UCI. Oh wow, UC Irvine. My professor friend is there. That's in Southern California, where you have a beach. What's the beach called? A beautiful beach there. Uh, Computer science and engineering. So what should we talk about? So I have some subject here. So talk about YouTube, talk about Wordy blog, my English writing, literature, grammar, um, writing style, and linguistics related stuff. There's quite a lot over there actually. For example, let's and YouTube, of course. YouTube is a wild thing. I mean, there are like a billion videos, of all sorts, and some of them, and a lot of them are really good actually. Almost like any topic you want to look for. Sawardi. So let's begin. Okay, so you know, I don't know what topics. So there's also go over my Twitter. So because Twitter I post every day, there's always interesting things. JavaScript object system, JavaScript ES 2015. Although those are technical, so maybe we don't do that today. Maybe I you know. Then there's math algorithmic art. That's XA math. This is a great topic actually. Algorithmic mathematical art. So we have to start somewhere. It's like every time I mention a topic, I almost like immediately I can just start to talk about it, and I'm going to dive in. So before as soon as I mention a topic, then I can talk about that. Then uh, and never get back to what we were saying before. Wordy English. So Wordy English blog is here. Let me show you. Yeah, the Wordy English. There's literature that's quite interesting. Interesting. There's a Shakespeare. Okay, let's go to Shakespeare. Let's go to literature classics. Okay, wait a minute. My website is slow. Let's quit this Brave then. Quit Brave. Uh, Literature. There is this. Let's talk about this. Shakespeare. The Titus. The tragedy of Titus Andronicus. Now this is actually Shakespeare's first work, and it's extremely bloody. It's the most bloody play you have ever seen, more bloody than whatever movies you watch today. You know, like when you watch movies today, Friday the 13th or whatever, you think that's that's gore and stuff, but this play on Titus Andronicus by Shakespeare, 1594, is more bloody than that. And I read, so actually I read the whole thing more than once, and I annotated it. So, for example, Act One, Scene One, and Saturnus, and I annotated it. Let's see, JavaScript. Yeah, there's lots of words and lots of stuff. So anyway, but so it's the most bloody. It's the tale is incredible, and it has become my favorite literature of all times. One of, let's say top five or top 10. Oh, Shakespeare, yeah, I just love his stuff. The way he writes. Like, when you mention Shakespeare, especially among programmers, it seems like elite and haughty. Like, oh, he's talking about Shakespeare. But actually, it turns out I really do like it. I mean, I just, it's incredible the writing. And so I read this multiple times, and I took 1 year, one whole year. I spent 1 year to annotate the entire thing. You can, like, if you go to, you can buy books that's annotated Shakespeare play, let's say Hamlet or others, Shakespeare's play. They have annotated versions, you can buy, and usually the annotator is some kind of professor or Shakespeare expert. But I went ahead and annotated the whole thing, by purely by just reading up dictionaries and encyclopedia. So that's first pass. So I annotated the whole thing. Let's show some examples. The Act One, Scene One is quite long. Let's see Act Two, Scene Two. So you see all these gray boxes. Those are my annotations. So Olympus is the mountain where gods resides. That's from Greek mythology. Then there's a link to Wikipedia. Fortune is a goddess of luck and fate. In Las Vegas, you'll find a lot for Fortuna, and Prometheus and so on. It refers to a lot of Greek or Roman mythology, god and goddesses, nymph and so on, and so there's a lot. So I annotated them, but after a year, I started to read a professional annotated version by um, this is a Google ad. Google ad is becoming incredibly annoying. It's not just me putting on my website. I mean, it's this is no. Let's not get into Google. They become evil. Phantom Beach. Do you still have the same diet from your XR log? Well, that depends on which one you refer to, because I think I wrote a few times. But my diet is pretty much the same. I mean, well, not like before though. Actually, so I don't remember exactly which one you were reading, but basically I used to, in my 30s, I used to I want to be a Superman. So my diet is tends to be very scientific based. I want to eat, whatever the latest scientific findings because I really wanted to be like Superman, as in the greatest athlete or whatever. Yeah, I can do anything. Um, so I don't eat any fat. I don't. I almost don't eat any fat. I eat protein-rich food, and I eat those protein bars and protein powers. When I was younger, I ate a lot of those, and fruits and banana. But not in the past 10 years, let's say. And I realized most of those is kind of trash. I mean, basically, we've been lied to. Uh, you know, how diet. Like people. Uh, People say, "Oh, you shouldn't have fat." Like 20 years ago, for like 20 years, you shouldn't eat fat. You should eat this or that. And today, I just found out you shouldn't eat vegetable oils, so-called vegetable oils. So there's this guy that says vegetable oils is actually all a lie. They began by, we only started to eat vegetable oils like corn oil, uh, canola oil. By the way, canola, there's no such plant called canola. The canola oil is actually rape seed. Okay, that plant is called rape seed. And of course, that word is sensitive. That word's got problems in Western society, in white people society. So they invented this word canola, which stand for Canadian and something. So they created this word canola oil. But anyway, so back to the topic. So yeah, so I tend to be my diet tends to be very healthy based, but not necessarily like, I don't I'm not against meat. Of course, I eat a lot of meat. Actually, I'm not against genetic engineered food. A lot healthy type of people, they don't want genetic engineered food. They want the for example, there's a Whole Foods store in California, which all these elite, geeks go to. Very expensive. Then there's, they don't want genetic engineered food, and they want there's a called so called organic these days, very popular. Organic. Oh, it's still rapeseed in Germany. You see how Google is evil? This fucking Google and the social justice can. You cannot say rapeseed these days because um, so Google is asking me to block it. Um, but anyway, so organic food becomes very popular these days because they this and that. Actually, there's no scientific basis for anything. Organic is not necessarily healthy. The only reason organic thing is good is because is the possibility where they do not use chemical like pesticide and stuff. If you use that, sometimes they contaminate. There's a residue on the food. And that's no good because that's about the only thing good about organic. Is organic is basically just and also you learned, during all these years, you learned actually all these companies behind it, they just want to make money. All these evil companies, for example, the organic food, whatever the craze, there are companies behind them. They want to push it, get you to buy it. Supposedly, good for the planet, and so on. My ass. In fact, if if you eliminate genetically engineered food, okay, if you suddenly, like, if you are God, you eliminate it right away, the whole world is going to go into hunger. Okay, you're gonna, half of the population is going to die. this organic fantasy, by these rich elite people. Of course, most of them are a lot, basically all programmers in California, for example, in working at Google, Facebook, these fuckheads. But anyway, so organic food. So I was talking about my diet. Basically the idea is that I want to be scientific. Whatever science says it's healthy for human animals. I want that. And so I kind of follow that. I eat salmon. I eat whole wheat bread. Yeah, I always eat whole wheat bread and spaghetti. Pasta and stuff. And also I don't eat fat, like especially like saturated fat, to such a degree. I mean, in my 20s and 30s, to such a degree, I think I may have I'm risking damage to my liver, because I was reading, it's said that you don't need fat because your body can produce it. What you need is protein. So I tend to eat just protein and not, almost no fat. Um, and that turns out that's pretty bad, because when you eat protein, if you don't eat fat, your body, your liver has to do a lot of work on protein, and it actually can damage your protein. In fact, there's a story called rabbit diet, in the early days of America, where people, they don't have nothing to eat except rabbit meat, and you develop problems, or like sickness, because a rabbit meat is pure lean meat, like no fat, but you get sick from that. Let's see, rabbit rabbit meat. So so what I was going and also I'm into the idea where if I can just take a pill, I don't have to eat nothing anymore, just take a pill. That would be good, like astronauts in space. You just rabbit meat, there's a phrase. Okay, let's go to Sali diet then, because I probably Sali diet, I have written about it. Then I remember what to talk about. Meal on appeal, diet of Sali, meal on appeal. Uh, okay, okay, yeah, I'm as good as dead. Not yet. I'm not dead yet. Oh yeah, this one is a new article actually. This I just wrote a few months ago. Uh, that's an interesting topic to go into, meal on peel. And diet of Sali. So this article is you were referring to, right? Yeah, I pretty much eat this. I still eat a lot of these. I mean, well, because now I don't have money, so I don't even have money to buy many of these now. So it's kind of like that. Yep, I haven't had broccoli like that for a while. So this is like 6 years ago. Uh, oh, 9 years ago. Wow. And that is the same desk as this one. I'm still sitting on it. Yeah, so that's my diet. Yeah, but basically, this article describes my thinking, my philosophy about diet, and I don't really do that. I don't really think that way that much anymore, because uh, because I think, basically, yeah, I'm not. I mean, the philosophy doesn't have really haven't changed. It's just the same, but I'm not as severe as I was before about it, because it's Well, you could say I'm still the same. Yeah. I mean, I'm like for example, before I would never drink whole milk. Milk I always drink skim, always like 100%, always. I never drink. I don't even drink half skimmed. I always drink 100% skim, non-fat milk. But now I drink fat milk. I don't think it's the 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 idea of not drinking whole milk at all is actually, I don't think it's necessarily good. I mean, well, it's all depends on what else you eat. But I was quite severe in a way, for some period of time in the past. So I drink, I eat pork, I eat fat. These days I eat I eat anything. Sometimes my roommate, they work in restaurant, they work in Chinese restaurants, so they bring me whatever, I just eat them. Uh, So yeah, all these Wikipedia articles, I was reading them. I still eat oats, cereal. Yeah. Okay, let's show that. So the full milk and day oat bread one. The full milk and day oat bread. Oh, I think you were referring to another page. Anyway, this is the page I talk about my diet. What about Chinese food? I eat them. I mean, you see, I don't really strictly follow any diet. I mean, I don't really have a diet. I just have a tendency, uh, you know, like to always eat healthy and scientific based, science based, nutrition based, science based food. And also, but also this idea is quite different from the typical, San Francisco green party or whatever. They want organic. They don't want genetically engineered food. They want green. They want plants, whatever. I'm not into that. Also, I'm not vegan or vegetarian. Okay, again, it's strictly based on science. In fact, I wouldn't mind. I eat genetic food. I don't have problem with that at all because, it's engineered. In fact, I wouldn't mind if I can just eat a peel. It's completely synthetic, human made, not natural at all. Just a peel. As long as we know, it's scientifically uh, good. But again, also note that we don't fully actually understand nutrition, not at all. So even today, they have okay, so they have this kind of thing, Soylent. It became a fad kind of among geeks, programmer geeks. You drink this. This is supposed to be scientific based nutrition, like all about nutrition, human diet, all the everything we know, in a bottle. You just drink this one a day or two a day or three a day or something like that. So we got these today, but actually, let me tell you, we actually don't know. As far as today's science goes, we don't actually fully understand exactly what's going on. So if you survive on these for a month, that's okay. For 2 or 3 months, you get sick. You cannot survive on these. For also, the other thing I learned is that if you don't chew, if your mouth do not chew, you're gonna have problems with your jaw or whatever. You develop problems. So that's a few things interesting. Oh, you were talking about the video. No, well, I mean, since the video, I have been living with roommates, and they work in restaurants, so sometimes they bring me food and stuff. And now I'm making some, I'm surviving on some ads. Google Ads. Okay, so that's I kind of rambled. I want to. So how many people are watching here? How many people are here? Seven. Oops, I just closed it. Fuck. You see, this is the stupidity with the mouse and aiming. You have this mistake. First of all, it takes time to aim. Which tab you want to. Then uh, let's close that. Let's pop this out again. Sorry. What's okay? Now it's getting super slow. Close that. Chat settings. I don't want chat settings. Enable slow mode. Enable live chat. Okay, here. Pop out. Okay, hey, break the loop. Never apologize for rambling. Your rambling is why I subscribed. Okay, that's good. Good to know. So, what about food? Okay, anything? I guess that's it for food. Are we still? Should we start talk about food? I was going back to the the tragedy of Titus Andronicus. Okay, I want to say so. There's a film. Okay, there's a film by Julia Taymor. Okay, directed by Julia Taymor. You should check it out. It's fantastic film. Well, I mean, you may not like it. I mean, it depends on. I mean, if you might like it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, so if you like Shakespeare kind of based film, you want to get this one. This is incredible. I watched it. I watched it so many times. It's um, art and stuff. And there's a trailer, and yeah, this is that's the goth scene. You see that? uh, yeah, it's pretty bloody. So it's about revenge. Basically, this play is about revenge. Uh, yeah, this came out in 1999, sometimes around there, I think. Uh, yeah, I don't remember, but yeah. Okay, so Chinese food is good. It's delicious. I eat it often because my roommate works in restaurants, so they bring me. I haven't tried Soylent stuff now, but Soylent stuff is something I would be very much interested. Like things like this, ready to eat meal. Now this thing is popular. This thing is popular among certain subcultures. Like they are thinking the world is going to collapse, so they buy a bunch of these. This is made by I think it's made by U.S. Militaries. Yeah, but it's supposed it was intended for soldiers. You got a whole bag, and actually there are people there are people on YouTube that review this kind of food, and this guy is funny. He actually shows you and explains, and his whole channel is about reviewing this so-called MRE, ready military ready to eat. His whole channel is about this. So there are these MREs made by U.S. government, made by UK, and And some of his videos, he is showing you an MRE that's like 50 years old, from World War, from Vietnam War or something. He actually got that, and he shows you it's all, it's all bad. Of course, it's gone bad, but he shows you that. So yeah, so there are people into that, and actually, so I'm not so much into these kind of things, but these kind of things has been my ideal meal. It's like this is the ideal diet. I would, when I was younger, in my 30s and 40s even, I very much into 20s, in my mostly 20s and 30s. I'm very much into these kind of things. So these days, maybe 5 years ago, you have this Soylent. I never tried, but however, before this, I was drinking Slim Fast, and there are others. Uh, I was drinking those often. Again, when I talk about my meals, usually people get confused. Some people, they project. They think I'm into vegan, while some other people think they are you are into organic. Fashionable in California programmers, organic stuff. Healthy and green stuff. Then some people think you are I'm on diet because of some reasons. You want to lose weight, or you have some diabetes or some problem. No, I'm not any of that. I'm into I'm kind of I just have I'm into scientific, like I'm a nerd, in the extreme. So I want my food to be, I want to dive into computer. So my food, so I my food choices kind of go into that direction. I don't care about the green organic stuff. I don't care about, you know, uh, so the only thing I care is like functionality. Like the Borg. The perfection. So anyway, so I haven't tried Soylent. So yeah, that's that about this food stuff. I just clicked something. The rise of robots. Stupid. So what else? Let's see. Soylent is convenient but a little pricey. Yeah, I think you can just drink Slim Fast. I mean there are several. If you go to, let's say, Walmart, okay, you go to the place where they have Slim Fast. There are several other varieties. Okay, not necessarily Slim Fast. And I used to drink that, for like over 10 years. Regularly, every week or at least once a month or something. Uh, so Break the Loop says, I wonder if you would like Black Mirror. The show has interesting ideas. No? What show is that? Yeah, MRE are okay, but you wouldn't eat them every day. I think if you eat everything, I mean, basically, yeah, if you eat the same thing every day, you get sick of it. Sick of it. I was thinking, like when you eat something every day, like sometimes like pizza, for example, usually it's good, right? But if you eat it every day, every single day for a month, you you get sick of it. I mean, you don't like you don't want it anymore. Same thing with Chinese or any other typically thing. So I was wondering, why do people feel that? And I'm thinking the reason is that it's actually a natural reaction, because your body, you don't want the because you want variety, because there are different nutrients. If you just eat the same thing, exact same thing every day, you get sick. I mean, it's like you naturally feel you don't want to, you don't feel you want to eat that anymore. And I was thinking there's a biological reason, because you know if you keep eating that, you may actually get sick physically, because your food do not have the variety of nutrients. Yeah, they, my roommates, they work in restaurant. I was, I know them. I was working in restaurant. Um, okay, that's about food, I guess. Yeah, the scientific food. So yeah, so my food, like I said before, like a nerd, I don't care about, you know, almost, it's like I almost don't care about taste neither. For most people, you care about taste. Like, oh, that's not tasty. For me, it's like, it might be a trend effect. Like it's like over the past decades, I trained myself to become this way because for me, it's like I don't care about the taste. However, I do enjoy tasty food. Like, if you go to a restaurant, yeah, I love them. Almost any restaurant, any food from any restaurant, any type of food, I love them. Better than, my noodles, my spaghetti at home, of course. But however, if I'm not going to restaurant, if I don't have the opportunity, if I just eat at home, that's fine too. That's so. you know, so in one word, I think you might the word Borg might just capture it. That's what I'm thinking. Um, yeah, food. Okay, it's close that. Oh yeah, there's a. So I was talking about, you cannot eat lean meat all the time because you'll get sick. Actually, I have written a article about that. Oh, there. Yeah, rabbit meat poisoning. So I was reading about this. Yeah, so one day I was looking, at what's the difference between rabbit and hare, or how do you pronounce that? Hare, I think hare. Um, then I found out about this rabbit meat poisoning. Let's see. Yeah, protein poisoning. Yeah, that's called protein poisoning from eating just rabbit meat. So another interesting thing is, rabbit starvation. Okay, that's the article. Or called protein poisoning. Basically, when your diet is just lean meat, such as rabbits, your body cannot cope with it. This is quite interesting because my whole life I've been infatuated with a fat-free diet. I thought that since the body can generate fat from protein and carbohydrates, and protein in general is the best, as in those protein-rich diets advertised by bodybuilders. I have since realized that this is quite dangerous because many essential nutrients are in fat only, and a diet without much fat and carbohydrates stresses out your liver. Yeah. So there is this rabbit protein poisoning. So since I learned about this and thinking back, I think at some period of time I was actually in risk of that because I reduced, I kind of eliminated any fat in my diet. Protein poisoning. Yeah, is a rare form of acute malnutrition thought to be caused by a near complete absence of fat in the diet. Yeah. So I was almost doing that. Uh, so there's that. Then I discovered this thing, like Wikipedia is so big, the Wikipedia is almost like an entire library of the 90s, a local library. It's more information there. So you can, if you just go to Wikipedia, you can, there's endless, articles. In fact, if you actually only consider the math sections of Wikipedia, like all math articles in Wikipedia, that's going to be quite a lot. Actually, I'm not sure how to. It's like a room of books or a rack or more than a rack. Well, actually, I don't know, but anyway. So yeah. So anyway, on Wikipedia, I learned about this three airs motif. So basically, it's supposed. So basically, it's said that you found this motif back to ancient times throughout the world. But we don't understand um, why. Like we don't understand where does this motif came from. Why is that? So that's something like that. Let's see, three airs. But also note that sometimes Wikipedia they got bad info. First of all, anything on today's news, okay, anything related to politics, whatever appears on today's news, the corresponding Wikipedia, related people or places or items is bad. Okay, that one is for sure. So anything related to politics, be sure don't trust Wikipedia. Including, for example, today's trans feminism, women, Wonder Woman. Like the Wonder Woman article, it's got entirely rewritten from 10 years ago. Actually, I have, um, it's like it's Wonder Woman entirely erased. The history of Wonder Woman, the comics, it's just gone. Instead, you got the social justice point of view. What blah 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 academic jargon blah blah blah. Actually, Wonder Woman is interesting because it began with a touch of bondage. The bound by this guy. Basically it was just a nerd. Yeah, it's like a pornography. For kids, for young boys. That was what Wonder Woman was. And I remember when I was small, like maybe 8 years old or 10 years old, back in Taiwan. I love Wonder Woman. It's one of my favorite superheroes. Even though I don't know, back then I was in Taiwan. I don't know anything about America or English. I don't know English, of course. It's not like so when I was like 10 years old or 8 years old, that person is completely different from what I am today. I mean, things change. It's totally different. But anyway, Wonder Woman was one of my favorite superheroes, and the other one is Batman and Spider Man. Okay, but today I really, Batman I still like. Spider Man I really despise everything about the Spider Man, the character, the philosophy, anything, everything about Spider Man. Spider-Man is like a epitome of American ignorance. Okay, one of the phrase popularized by Spider-Man is uh, um, something like when you got superpower, you have more responsibility. Okay, when anyone says that, run for your life. Only the fuckhead scumbags, the too powerful, and they want to control the world, who says that because they felt a guilt. Um, and Americans love that. Like so what's the word exactly? Uh, what's the phrase? More responsibility. So anyone? Okay, I'm not sure I'm insulting people here. So what was the phrase that Spider-Man says? And this is interesting because one day I was reading Eric ESR, Eric S. Raymond, the guy who started open source, the Bazaar and the Cathedral, he wrote that book. He, in one of his blog, this is about maybe 10 years ago or 80 years ago. I was reading one of his blog. I don't read his blogs, but I was reading one of them. Uh, then he was quoting that phrase. Uh, okay, am I still like alive? Guys, say something. 8 people watching. Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you, guys. With great power comes great responsibility. So I actually tried to look up, the source of that quote. It turns out that quote is not. There's no exact source, of exact, that phrase. It just became part of the pop culture. But anyway, let me show you some of the. But anyway, so what with that phrase, that phrase is a phrase like I don't know if you could say that the typical American love, they just love that phrase, like with great power comes great responsibility. Why do they love it? Because I think, yeah, when you are at the top of the world, when you are the most powerful, that phrase is a comfort to you, like if I'm the richest, I would love that phrase. With great power comes great responsibility. It seems to tell me, like my power is legit. I'm most powerful, and I should have great responsibility. It's just good. So anyway, so I was reading Eric Raymond, his book. He says that he says that, what the fuck, because he is the one. He's pro Iraq war and stuff. But anyway, today the social justice, which is more evil than anything, the social justice gun rose, and he's opposed against it. So in that regard, I support him. So anyway, so there's this Wonder Woman. You see all this bondage, this subtle sexual. I mean, this is porn back in the days. Uh, I got more pages. I'm not sure I want to show it, but okay, this page is still okay. Okay, I don't want to show the bottom, but that's what it is. Look at this is Wonder Woman. The origin of Wonder Woman. You got all these bondage things. And also notice her costume is this bikini. Uh, back then it's very controversial. I mean, the standard, for how much skin you can show in society changes, right? Today it's like you can be like totally naked, but not back then. This is considered, fairly very sexy. So that's the history. That's what Wonder Woman is. Beginning in 1942, 1940s, and also remember back then in that era, it's a Cold War era. You have the Americans and you have the communists. The Russia, and so a lot of the stories are fighting the communists. But then 1970s, the feminism, start to, so basically anything women is like a famous feminist. Any famous female or girl is like becoming associated with feminist. So here we have the Wonder Woman for president. Um, okay, and we got this. She is beautiful, Linda Carter in 1976. I never seen this. This is 1976. Uh, I was 8 years old. Yeah, I never seen it. I dug up this information. Then yes, then you have, so today, when you look at these covers of Wonder Woman over the years, you can also see how the costumes, the standard of girls, women's clothing changes, as with respect to sexuality. So basically, you just see less and less covers. Then they become more sexy than that. Uh, then you have that. Uh, you know, um, then you have that. This is 2003. One blob of meat. That's what it is. And anyway, Wonder Woman. So anyway, so let's read the comments. That's nice of your roommates. Wait, where do my roommates work? My roommates work in restaurants like down the street. Uh, so break the loop says the other day I watched a video of a student protest at Evergreen College that happened last year. Yeah, and it was infuriating to watch such stupidity. Yeah. Yeah, they are. It's very bad. I think in this right now it's happening in USA. And if you guys, no, I didn't watch the Wonder Woman movie. These days I haven't been watching movies, and I wasn't. Yeah, I haven't watched it. Um, yeah, so the social justice is happening. It's very bad, and they are in power. They are like controlling everything, including Google. They lie. They blatantly lie. The Google fired the guy. James Damore. Um, I studied. In many of these cases. I didn't know nothing about it. Is this thing that suddenly rose up in 2016. It's like all of a sudden, I could never imagine, like USA is very conservative. It's like God believing country. Everything is on the dollar bill or in coins. We have in God we trust. I don't believe in God. Okay, and I don't like the idea. In God we trust, but it was very strong. That notion. But all of a sudden, around 2015, all of a sudden it's like you have a complete reversal um, of the situation. I couldn't, I never imagined that could be. And actually, people are, you know, against, free speech. Like I've been living in USA for like since 19 since 1989. Okay, for 30 years. I could never imagine that one day Americans would be against the idea of free speech. I mean, it's impossible because before I was like kind of ridiculing this concept because in America you have yeah, free speech is good, but however the in America you have this such an obsession, like everything is about free speech, like free speech this and constitution. Okay, so I used to like make fun of the of these ideas and I was thinking, you should look around the world and look around history. Like the humanity, is not just America. It's not just in the past 200 years. There are few thousands of years of history, and before there was America, before there was a constitution. So my mind is thinking like that. I always uh, like to view the world, the whole history kind of way. Um, so whenever I I made fun of many these American obsessions and the mores and but now it's entirely different. This social justice scan, they are like 10 times worse. They are, I think what happened is that they are actually they are just political corruptions. Like people in power they got a lot of money and they just want to do things, whatever things that make them more rich. That's why all these things happen. Well, that's part of the reason, because I've been trying to find the reason. So since 2016, okay, since 2016, around October, when the election is going about, I began, I was like surprised by all these happenings. I began to read, spend maybe an hour to half an hour to an hour every day, maybe around an hour every day. I've been trying to find out, where does this come from? This social justice, this, and all of a sudden, trans gays. I'm not. By the way, I'm not against gays. Trans is kind of new, but I have like I was a pretty face all my life, and back in Montreal when I was 16, there are gays. Gays always like chasing me. They are gays. There are stories I would rather not say, but but anyway, so since 2016, I was trying to find out how did this all happen. It seems like all of a sudden. Then, so I started to see and find, realize some of the reasons for this happening. Okay, the major reason is that the millennial generation, millennial generation, who are brought up by mostly, okay, millennial generation, that's one thing. They are brought up by the politically correct left, especially in Silicon Valley. Okay, so that's one thing. Millennials and the left-leaning academia, okay, or the professors, they are their life is too good. They feel guilty. Oh, and they are always all done by white people. Okay, uh, so academia, they teach, these kind of things. Academia since, I would say, since about 1990s. Okay, so millennial generation, the academia, okay, and the power of technology, Google, Facebook, since 2000s, because most of these tech people are not conservatives, which includes me, kind of, you can say that includes me. So, for example, in 2000s, I'm against, the conservative beliefs. They believe in God and Jesus. I don't believe that in that. So when I see, the atheist movement, I kind of, yay. I don't want, in God we trust, in the money. But I couldn't imagine it turned out this way. So anyway, so back to the reasons. The political correct, the Google, the technology group, all the programmers in Silicon Valley, most are, not conservatives. They are not God believing people. And millennials, and one of the most important is social networks like Twitter and Facebook. They create these bubbles because their goal is to make money, and they do all they can to make money. And one of the things they do is to only show things that's pleasant to you, um, because you see things, only opinions you like. That gets you more involved. You might post more and like things more. And what happened, with that, then you start to have a division, between groups. Like you start to have bubbles. Like you see the world only the way you like to see it. You don't see other side. So these are the reasons. I learned this from, there are so many sources. Jordan Peterson is one of the main ones. Camille Paglia. These two I respect the most. Um, anyway, yeah. So anyway, so I haven't watched the Wandering Earth movie. I like to. uh, so my favorite superhero, I think I think it would be Batman. when I was younger, that's my favorite because when I was like 8 years old, 10 years old, I don't know nothing about it. I only when you are at that age, you basically just look at their costumes and stuff they are fighting, and then you pick your favorite. But today, I would say Batman, and basically nothing else. Wonder Woman, I still like her, but I only like her body. Okay. Well, because she's hot, a hot girl, and but and Batman, but how there's something different about Batman. Because unlike all other superheroes, they usually have some so-called superpowers, like they can shoot lasers out of their eye, or they can, punch like Hulk becomes 10 times bigger, or Superman. Superman is like the kind of the typical example. The idea of invincible. Yeah, nothing can kill him, except except they invented that blue emerald or something. But anyway, but Batman is a bit different because Batman does not have any superpowers, and the story of Batman is basically a psychological thriller. It's all the whole story of Batman is based on psychology. He lost his parents when he was young, um, and his enemies, almost all his enemies, is also psychological freaks. You have the Joker, you have the Penguin. Joker is somewhat a criminal, but who a handsome guy supposedly fell into this chemical place and destroyed his face, and that creates that creates your psychological problems, imbalances, like the Phantom of the Opera. This is a common theme. Okay, I think in stories where you have a beautiful guy, then your face got destroyed. But anyway, so Batman, the Penguin is a guy who was born deformed, and his parents, discarded him. So that's Penguin. Then you have a bunch of clowns. I guess Penguin, that's Penguin's clowns, and then you have Two Face. Okay, so a guy with Two Face. So I suppose Two Face represents there's a personality disorder called I forgot what's the name, but basically multiple personality. There's a name for it. Anyone else? What's the term for that? Like multiple personality. So I suppose Two Face represent that. So anyway, so Batman, Batman is kind of, he doesn't have superpowers, but the story is all based on psychology. So I kind of, I like that would be my favorite. The other, no, not bipolar. There's a bipolar is one of the psychological uh, personality disorder, but there's another one which has multiple personalities. Let's search for it. Bipolar means maniac depressive. That was the word used for bipolar before. So a depression is one of the personality, one of the disorder. Okay, when you feel sad perpetually, like for prolonged period of time, like year after year, that's depression. The opposite of depression is there's sometimes you feel like you had some, I don't know, drugs. You feel all powerful. Like you can talk to anyone. Like maybe normally you are socially inept. You get nervous or anxious talking to other people. But when you are maybe after some drugs or in certain mood, you like you can talk to anyone. Like the movie Mask shows that personality. The green face mask. That's a fun movie by Jim Carrey. You might check it out. No, not this one. Let's go back. Jim Carrey. The Mask. Okay, this yeah, this movie. So this the Mask, that guy that shows the maniac. That's called maniac um, disorder. So it's like you get into a mood. You talk nonstop and you feel invincible. That's uh, let's go to okay. So let's go to okay. Hold on a second. Let me go to dissociative identity disorder. No, I don't think that's the one. Well, it could be. Maybe they changed the name, but that's not the name I'm familiar with. Oh, okay. I guess they changed the name. This psychiatry, these psychological organizations, they change the name. Every decades. Okay, dissociative identity disorder, previously known as multiple personality disorder. Okay, yeah, yeah. Uh, Green Deck. Hey, Green Deck. Hey, Tiso. So anyway, so there's this dissociative identity disorder. Actually, this disorder, I never quite get it. Meaning that I never actually can I don't. It's like I have a disbelief issue. I never found a person who is like that, except pictured in movies. In movies they can picture all kind of psychological extremes. But it's the movies. They exaggerate. But so for this one, I never found like multiple personality disorder. I'm not sure I believe it. I cannot find a actual example or think of an actual real example. Um, okay, so the other thing is, these psychologists and uh, psychiatrists, they talk about these things, but be aware that this is not a science like physics or math. Okay, in math or physics is absolute. Everything. Shit. How do you get rid of that? Okay, so in math or physics, things are absolute. But in psychology or psychiatry, you kind of, and theories change. Maybe after 10 years, oh, we are all wrong. They change their theory. So, there's that aspect. Um, so how did we talk about, oh yeah, dissociative multiple personality disorder? So I was thinking that is the two-faced character in Batman. Yeah. So anyway, so the Batman, the superhero of movies. They are like a dime a dozen. So when I was younger, I used to actually read comics books. X Men. Actually, there's another series I'm more interested in, which is the competitor to X Men. It's called Teen Titans. Tentitans. Okay. Now, Teen Titans is, I think, it's a DC's version of the of X Men. X Men became successful, so it's from Marvel's, the company, but the other company called DC, they want to create something that's in a similar kind of a story and audience, but compete with the X Men. So they created this Teen Titans. These pictures are all bad. They are just these. All these pictures are from cartoon, but actually, okay. Here's the original cover. Here, and so back then, when I was 17 or so, I was into this chick, Stardust, on the left. This one. Her name is Stardust. She is an alien, and this girl is Wonder Girl. It's kind of like a younger version of the Wonder Woman. And this is Robin from the Batman's Robin. But anyways, you have these Teen Titans. Uh, it never became as popular as the X-Men. Okay, so what else? So how long have I been talking? Must be, well, 70 minutes. That's long enough. I don't know. So anything else interesting? So the superheroes are they are they are really ridiculous. Now when you are a teen, yeah, of course it's fun, but but really they are just teen, they are just stupid comics for teen, because you have Superman, which is supposed to be invincible, nothing can hit, damage him. Then they had to create this, a weakness, so that because otherwise, if he's just invincible, then this end of story. He just destroy. He can always win. The story does is not interesting anymore. So they have to create some kind of like his weakness that can hurt him. And in a similar way, in the Marvel universe, the X-Men, or the Captain America, then suddenly you have this superhero who can control the universe. Then you have another superhero who can also like control the universe. So it's like power and superpower and hyperpower and kind of like that. Then you have like multi-universe. Then you can kill all bunch of people. Then tomorrow they can all be alive again. Like in another universe. So it's like just foolish. It's like nonsense. Um, okay, so I think that's it for today. Uh, let's pop this out. Let's go here. So anything else? Anything else, guys? Say something. So maybe that's it for today. Um, yep, that's it for today. Thank you guys for coming. So we talked about today's. We talked about the social justice scan. That was. Um, okay, see you guys. Bye.